You can't expect everything in life to go the way you want, but sometimes the world sets you up for failure from the beginning, like baby turtles hatching on a beach full of seagulls. You never stood a chance. That's what society is doing to men these days, and to women as well, by the way, except where they end up isn't usually considered failure. The issue is that the life blueprint for a man is to find a woman you like, settle down with her, and live happily ever after. Just like how the hatchling turtles are meant to reach the surf and swim in the ocean. But that vision has become so unrealistic, it's more fantasy than pathway. Don't accept what society tells you. You can learn this the hard way, or you can start paying attention to what's happening around us. I've rebuilt my life after divorce and now do a lot of things differently compared to before. After everything I've experienced, one thing I know for sure is that men are handed a plan that is at best incomplete. You can settle down, get married, create a home, do the 9 to 5 thing, and still end up with a dissatisfied woman who somehow expects more. Then you face the choice. Do I give in to her demanding ways, or do I stand my ground? Often there's nothing you can do at this point. You're either going to end up a sad husband, constantly apologizing for your alleged inadequacies, or divorced and broken, robbed of your money, your pride, and possibly your children. That's where the script leads. And yet this is the exact life path still being pushed on men. It's packaged as maturity, responsibility, success. But the truth is, the pathway no longer fits the world we live in. Seeing reality, taking the red pill, whatever you want to call it, opens up new possibilities. You can throw away society's programming, take control of your life, and gain a new sense of freedom and purpose. That's what I want to talk about today. I'm not saying I have all the answers, and I'm not pretending this is simple, but the only way to deal with a problem is to be honest about what it is. The traditional life path for a man, settle down, stay loyal, be the provider, is still largely accepted at a time when women are being told the opposite. They're told to explore, to prioritize themselves, to keep their options open, to never settle. So while men try to live up to duty and sacrifice, many women are encouraged to prioritize their feelings, chase personal fulfillment, and never settle. The result is entitlement and narcissistic tendencies. These aren't two halves of the same plan, they're completely incompatible. So when a man steps into that traditional role, expecting it to be reciprocated, he finds himself confused and betrayed. Feminist messaging teaches women that they don't owe men anything, not respect, not accountability, not consistency. It encourages them to see men as disposable unless he's meeting every emotional and material need. That's why the traditional model of the masculine way fails. It doesn't reflect reality. It reflects a fantasy we were raised on, one that no longer exists. We're told that being nice, steady, and reliable will earn us a good life. Keep her happy. Don't ask for much. Your compliance will be rewarded with the joy she brings. But over time, I realized the deal was rigged. These rules weren't written for our benefit. Of course, men are noticing and reacting to what has been happening with dating and relationships, but it's difficult to know what to do. Most men work long hours, fix what needs fixing, stay loyal, and carry their responsibilities without complaint, but what they get in return often doesn't match the effort. You can do everything right, provide, commit, raise a family, and still be treated like a failure. The gratitude disappears one day, the criticism increases. You start to notice that nothing you do is ever quite enough. So men step back, not to sulk, but to think, to take stock, to stop wasting energy on a deal that doesn't add up. That's when the lone wolf phase begins. You become more focused. You take better care of yourself. You realize how much energy you spent trying to manage someone else's moods. You stop explaining yourself. You stop absorbing blame, and slowly the pressure starts to lift. It's not perfect. There are moments of yearning, the occasional hunger for something undefined, a flicker of old desires, companionship, sex, a softer voice in the room, and sometimes you forget the cost of those things. You start thinking, maybe it's time to try again. Sooner or later, you might put yourself out there. Not because it's easy, it's not. These days, finding someone takes real effort, and usually a fair bit of rejection. Hypergamy means men are often chasing women who think they can do better, women with inflated expectations and little self-awareness, so the match is rarely even. You find yourself trying to win over someone who rates you lower than you deserve. Still, something in you wants connection. You push through, you try, and sometimes it feels like it's working. By that stage, you've probably been living in peace. Not joy or euphoria, just simple, manageable days. You got things done. You kept your thoughts in order. There was no drama, no one draining your energy. And if you do manage to connect with someone, there's a high. The chemicals hit, the excitement, the validation, the illusion that something solid is forming. But then come the tests, the mood swings, the strange emotional puzzles you're expected to solve, the little control games, the slow drip of demands. What was calm becomes tension. What felt simple turns into second guessing. This is the cost of re-entering the game. Some call it MGTOW. I don't care what label you use. What matters is this. A man's peace is valuable, and once you've had it, truly had it, you shouldn't give it up easily. Because what relationships often offer now isn't partnership, it's pressure. What they call intimacy is often just a series of hoops you're expected to keep jumping through until one day you don't. By the time you realize it's all upside down, you've already done your part, you've been loyal, you've paid the bills, you've kept your mouth shut, and still she's unsatisfied. You try to fix it, adapt, hold on, but it doesn't matter. The choice becomes impossible. Keep absorbing the negativity or say no and get cast as the problem. That's how men get trapped, either worn down in place or thrown out and left to start again. But that's only if you keep following their script. So what is one to do with this information? Some would call it cynicism about the state of modern relationships. Personally, I chose to opt out of relationships post-divorce. Maybe it was easy because I had 2 young kids to help look after, which tied up my time and gave me something meaningful to do. But even without kids, there's a strong case for going your own way. Negative experiences in dating and relationships wear you down over time. You can reach a point where you're no longer interested in putting on a show. You're tired of being judged by women who don't live up to the very standards they demand. But herein lies the key to approaching modern relationships. Stop caring, stop trying, stop running after outcomes that depend on someone else's emotions. Once you accept that your options are limited and that most women today are not prepared for the kind of relationship you once dreamed of, you're more in tune with reality. And from that realism, something surprising happens. You become stronger. You stop seeking validation. You stop fearing rejection. You stop making decisions from a place of need. And paradoxically, this shift can make you more attractive. Not because you're following some trick or tactic, but because you're grounded. You're not hoping to be chosen. You've got better things to do. You don't care if she stays or goes. You've got peace, purpose, and self-respect, and that radiates. So while you may have stepped away from relationships, you're not hiding or shut down. You're just not chasing anymore. And if opportunity crosses your path, you're in a better place to evaluate it with a strong sense of self. Until then, you're not waiting. You're living on your own terms. This is what it means to go your own way, not as rebellion, but as recognition that your life is yours, that your time is limited, and that playing by the rules is only noble when the rules are fair. And here's the twist. The rules aren't fair. They were never meant to be. We live in a culture where women are constantly told they are perfect just as they are, that they deserve more, that every failure is someone else's fault, every bad feeling, blame it on patriarchy, every breakup, blame the man, every poor choice, call it empowerment. Meanwhile, men are told we need to do better. We need to open up, work harder, suppress ourselves, sacrifice more, be less masculine, be more emotionally available, but not too needy. Be strong but soft, be confident but deferential, be leaders but take the blame. Feminism turned from asking for equality to demanding exemption from accountability. And men, we became the default problem. We're shamed for being men, we're shamed for not being useful, then we're discarded when we no longer serve a purpose. I keep hearing that the drop in relationship rates among young people is because men aren't good enough, not mature or educated enough, that the women are too good for us. Wrong. While men are being held accountable and trying to improve ourselves, females are not. They may be doing well in some areas, but their quality as potential partners has been in decline. They expect too much and offer too little in return. I'm not here to tell you how to live. That part's up to you. But whatever you do, don't live by default. Don't sleepwalk through life following rules that were never designed with your interests in mind. If there's a foundation to stand on, it's this. Don't apologize for being a man. Carry yourself with pride. Value your time. Create a life where your worth isn't measured by how well you perform for others. If you absorb the wrong messages, you could spend your years trying to please people who don't care about you, doing things that wear you down, for rewards that never come. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to fit anyone's mold. You decide who you are. There are no simple answers. I've taken a path most people wouldn't choose, but I've found freedom and a steady sense of happiness. That didn't come through some master plan. It came from trial and error, getting things wrong, learning the hard way, and slowly working out life principles. And the truth is, you don't have to make common mistakes anymore. You can learn from what other men have been through. You can look at outcomes and pay attention to the reality of modern life. That alone puts you ahead of most. I'm not offering a formula, just a reminder you can think for yourself, you can question what you were told, and you can live in a way that respects your time, your effort, and your human nature.